Hello viewers, in this episode I am going to inform you about the errors seen in the readings of the text available in the manuscripts and what do the scribes state regarding their effort in preserving the readings by manual copying. This episode is divided into 5 segments and they are: why do scribal errors occur, classification of errors, errors committed by little educated scribes, and purposeful changes made by educated copyists, how to learn ancient scripts, the statements of the scripts seen at the end of manuscripts. Summary: why do scribal errors occur? This is very natural phenomena that while copying any written document, the one who is copying may commit mistake once or more than once. First of all, we have to understand that the process of copying is of 2 kinds. 1. Reading the original and copying. 2. Listening to the dictation of the other people and writing depending on hearing. As one may expect, while seeing the original, the scribe may err because of oversight, inability in understanding the words, failure in differentiating the subtle variants in letter patterns, confusions regarding jumble of letter parts of the top lines with the letter parts of the below line, so on and so forth. While listening, he may not hear correctly the word pronounced by the one who dictates. Sometimes even the dictating person may be in the level of ordinary scribe, which means he may not have ability to know the letter precisely he is reading in the first process. That is to say, the mistakes of only copyist may be taken place in the copy. In the second process, additional mistakes of the one who dictates will be hoarded. In both cases, the main culprit is scribe's little level of education. Even little knowledge of script of the manuscript from which he is copying takes major role here. The scribe is very innocent. He thinks that he is faithfully recording the original as it is. He always imagines that by copying a work, he is making great service to the scholar community. But unfortunately, he doesn't understand what he is writing. There is a popular legend regarding writing of Mahabharata. It was a Lord Ganesha who copied the whole Mahabharata. While dictating the enormous literature, sage Vyasa, the author of Mahabharata, put a condition according to which Lord Ganesha must understand the meanings of whatever he would write. Sometimes Ganesha didn't grasp rapidly the meaning of some verses. So he slowed his tempo of writing, and after pondering attentively, he would understand the difficult words and continued. It gave enough time to sage Vyasa for composing verses afresh. There is an important message to the scribes in this legend. You have to understand what you are copying, but strict application of moral of this legend was, in the most of the cases, simply not possible. The reason is, for every book the scholars or the poets produced, one cannot find scholar copyists. But the authors wanted their works to be available to more and more people. So they had to assign the copying job to the scribes. But it is not correct to say that whatever copies we are seeing nowadays are only handworks of ordinary scribes and not scholars. Some good Shastric copies we can see are result of faithful copying of scholars. Here good means free from a pile of mistakes. Even if the copy is prepared by scholars, one may observe mistakes, but there are only a few. Satwalekar, the Vedic scholar, says with wonder that he didn't find even single mistake in the manuscripts of Rig Veda he scrutinized. That means the Rig Vedic manuscripts seen by Satwalekar were prepared by good Vedic scholars or students and not ordinary scribes. One may surmise that since Veda was considered sacred, ordinary scribes were not permitted to copy it. But for other literature, this rule of scholarly qualification could not be followed strictly. Instances are not rare where the readers who were well educated would understand the copies correctly, in spite of their having corrupted text. Sometimes correction of the mistakes in the copies were shown. Striking on the mistaken word was risky on manuscripts of palm leaves because the palm leaves are brittle in nature. Sometimes the scribes would put dots on the words unwanted. I have seen bracketing the unwanted words in some palm manuscripts. For adding, first the scribe may put plus mark or hamsa pada, and second, write correct word or letter in either margins or below side of the letter. In the paper manuscripts, unwanted words or letters were blocked by red or yellow pigment. But unfortunately, the scribes did not do this for every mistake they committed. By and large, they would leave the mistakes unindicated. Classification of errors. Errors committed by little educated scribes and purposeful changes made by educated copyists. The mistakes of ordinary scribes may be put under three categories. They are absence, addition, and change. Several reasons are there for absence. Let us talk about a manuscript in which first line has the word Rama. The word Rama occurs even in second line. The copyist, while copying the text, writes the first Rama. When he sees the original, by chance, his gaze falls on second Rama and he continues. As a result, whatever the text in between first Rama and second Rama will be absent in his copy. This is not only reason for absence of word, words, letter or letters. The copyist's gaze may jump to third line after his completing the first line. Hurriedly, he may forget letter, letters, word or words. In case of adjunct letters, he may not write all the required letters. Another possibility one cannot rule out in the original. Some letters or words the copyists could not make out. He would left them unwritten. Usually in this case, short or long space according to the quantity of the letters or words that could not be read may be clearly observed. There is another possibility. In the original itself, some lacunae may be there. Missing portion may be shown in the margins, but the copyist might have ignored them or might have left unnoticed. Additions. Additions are a result of so many things. Consider this. There is a difficult word, say bradhna, used in a work. While studying the work, a student does not understand what it is. Is it Brahma? But he is not sure and asks his guru to get the meaning of that strange word. The guru informs his student that the meaning of the bradhna is Surya, the sun. So, bradhna is correct word and any scribal error is out of question here. The student writes the word Surya in margin for his own reference. After some time, friend of that student requests him to lend the copy for some days. The student gives the same. That friend gives the copy to a scribe for preparation for another copy for his own use. That copyist, while copying the work, notices the word Surya written in margin. He doesn't bother about asking real purpose for writing the word in the margin. He thinks that the word is integral part of the work and simply adds that word in his copy. Even unnecessary repetitions can be put in the same category. After completion of copying, once again reading the same line will be resulted in rewriting the whole line. Needless to say that letters, words, lines and even verses may be repeated because of either carelessness or forgetfulness. Not understanding the original word can have a role in unnecessarily supplying letters. There is a word darsha in Sanskrita which means new moon day. The well-known word which is synonym to the same is amavasya. Since an ordinary copyist doesn't know the word darsha, he may think that correct form of the word is dadarsha, which means he or she saw. Since dadarsha is familiar to the scribe, he added da prior to darsha. One shall not forget that all the copies we are seeing are not only handworks of innocent and ordinary scribes. Even the scholars have major role in preservation of the texts by manual copying, but they did not venture to make any change in Vedic literature because it is very steady. For other literature, they took freedom. This freedom may be the result of just adding something without any special purpose. If description of forest comprises only 3 verses, a scholar may just add some verses of his own, thinking that since the forest is a very vast subject, only 3 verses are not enough to show its enormity. This kind of additional passages are aplenty in Mahabharata. Some stray advices, unrelated independent stories and episodes are interwoven in Mahabharata. The reason is very simple. If these literary pieces do not have good support, they may be lost irrevocably. So, our forefathers put some stories in the Mahabharata box and they were protected. If the interpolator is very skillful, he imitates the original style so closely that one cannot differentiate the interpolated portion from the original. Change. Scribes' ignorance is root cause in altering the text in the copy. But in the case of modifying the texts regarding the scholars, knowledge is the root cause. The knowledge can be used for correcting the mistakes. If it is the case, we are lucky to have the manuscripts with corrected readings instead of corrupted copies. And we must congratulate ourselves for the same. If purposeful and unnecessary alteration is made by the scholars, the readings are not reliable. You shall not always blame the scholars by thinking that they have habit of changing the text unnecessarily. We have to look closely to the copies prepared by scholars in which they might have corrected the text painstakingly. Regarding the ordinary scribes, mentality of simplification is one of the cause in changing the original word. By the phrase mentality of simplification, I mean to say that the scribes want to change an unfamiliar word to familiar word. While copying any literature, the copyist shall have good command over language. If a scribe is copying Mimamsa work, he shall have at least basic knowledge of Mimamsa. If a scribe is copying Ayurvedic work, he shall have at least basic knowledge of Ayurvedic, so on and so forth. Here, familiarity of language is not enough. Let me cite an example. There is a statement in yoga, Shavasanam Shranti Haram, which means the asana, namely Shavasana, will remove the fatigue. Here, Shranti is fatigue. But the scribe may think that this is Shanti and may write Shanti. The meaning will be observed. Shavasana removes peace. Very bad scribes may change visarga into ha, write Ustava instead of Utsava. An uneducated scribe may write Janakya Niti Sutram. After listening the pronunciation Chanakya Niti Sutram, etc. Chanakya Niti Sutram means political aphorisms created by Chanakya. But Janakya Niti Sutram means political aphorisms belonged to a lady namely Janaki. Here, one shall not forget confusion in the scripts. Sanskrit is a language, and that language was and is being written in several scripts like Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, so on and so forth. And this point is already brought out to your notice. We learn so many scripts for researching the manuscripts of Sanskrit works. Our forefathers were not different. Even they tried to learn so many scripts. They would copy a manuscript of Bengali in Oriya script and a manuscript of Sharada in Malayalam script, etc. While copying, some letter designs of foreign script may look like the letters of their own script. This confusion prevails more and more among uneducated or little educated scribes. They would change the letters and they do not know they are changing the letters. Let me cite an example. In some Mahabharata manuscripts of Devanagari script, the word Usha is written unnecessarily several times and it doesn't make any sense. Now, the question is, why have the scribes written the word Usha unnecessarily? To find the answer, we have to compare Mahabharata manuscripts written in Sharda script. In Sharda script, the letter pattern of Ta closely resembles U mark of Devanagari. The letter pattern of Tha closely resembles Sha mark of Devanagari. That means Tatha of Sharda script changed into Usha of Devanagari at the hand of uneducated scribes. This example clearly highlights the importance of learning more and more scripts. In other words, knowledge of only script which is employed for writing in editable work is not enough. How to learn ancient scripts? In order to learn scripts employed in manuscripts, first step is to study the charts attentively. In the initial stage, it is necessary to get help from the experienced ones. Self-study will follow. Put a book printed in familiar script in front of you. Place the manuscript of the same work in which the script you wish to learn is used. Compare both and start to write the script of manuscript. Practice, practice and keep on practicing. Wow, it has come to you. By this method, you may learn 4 to 6 scripts in the span of 5 months. But command over language is very crucial here. Let me give an example. When you will receive a letter written in your mother tongue, you will be able to read because of not only your familiarity with script, but also your knowing language. Subject knowledge will be of very great help in this regard. If you will have some physical problem, you will consult a doctor and the doctor will prescribe you a medicine. in most of the cases, and particularly if you are not in medical profession, you won't be able to read the prescription, will you? But the moment you will show the prescription in the medical shop, you will have the medicine. The medical guy knows the name because of his familiarity in the subject. Likewise, it is better to have the knowledge of subject of the word while working with it. Let us consider this example. You are reading an Ayurvedic text in which you will read the word Vishamashana. If you are not familiar with Ayurveda, there is every possibility that you may think that the letter Sha in the part Ashana is actually Sa, because it deals with asana, a yogic posture like Bakasana, Trikonasana and the like. But your assumption is not correct. The word asana doesn't have any place here. In reality, it is ashana, which means food. Vishama means unsuitable. Here, the author is talking about the food taken that is not adjustable with the food taken previously. Here is the golden rule. The more you will have familiarity with language as well as subject, the more you will be able to read the manuscript precisely. Language command may encompass so many language layers: talking, writing, reading of novels, short stories, research articles, classical poems, Shastric literature, commentaries, scientific literature, etc. We shall not draw any borderline to our study circle by giving stress to the word specialization. The word specialization is not a wrong word, but this word doesn't need explanation semantically. A prolific writer in Kannada, H.S.K., would say oftentimes that the proverb Jack of all and master of none shall be changed into Jack of all and master of one. Expansion of curiosity yields good results while reading manuscripts. Occasionally, some polite or audacious statements we can see at the end of works. That these statements are created by the ordinary or not so well educated scribes is out of question, as sometimes these statements show good command over Samskrita. It is obvious that the creation of these statements was first made by educated copyists. Ordinary scribes would copy them, that's all. Sometimes they show not only mentality of the scribes, but also some important basic points of manuscriptology. Advice on meticulous preservation of manuscripts. For that reason, they are very important and unignorable pieces of information. Their language is very simple. Here only 4 verses are cited. Bhugna, Prushtha, Katigreva, Stabdha, Drishti, Adhomukham, Kashtena, Likhitam Shastram, Yatnena Paripalayet. One has to preserve this Shastric work carefully. I took much pain while copying this. I had to crook my back, waist and neck, stare one-pointedly and hang down my face. Popular reading of the first word is Bhagna in this verse. But actually Bhagna is not correct. Bhagna means broken, and Bhagna is meaningless in this particular context. Tailadrakshet jaladrakshet rakshet chithila bandhanat murkha hastena datavyam evam vadati pustakam. This is the request from the manuscript itself. One has to preserve the book from oil, water and loose binding. A warning: do not give it to any fool. Pratisadrishamashesham प्रोज्ज्वलत्पत्रिकासु प्रतिलिखितमह्यैतद् यन्मया मन्दबुद्ध्या तदखिलमपि दृष्ट्वा साधु वास्मत्करकृतमपराधं क्षन्तुमर्हन्ति सन्तः. I, being dim-witted, have copied everything on shining paper as the original is. While copying, I did not give much attention on that's being correct or otherwise. Considering all these, the good people may pardon me for any mistakes I have committed. Matrikasu yatha drishtam tatha tallikhitam maya abaddham va subaddham va mama dosho na vidyate. I simply wrote whatever I saw in the exemplar. I am not to be blamed in case of any absurdity. Bindu durlipi visarga vithika shringa pankti padabheda dushanam hastavegajam abuddhi purvakam kshantumarhata samikshya sajjanaha. I, being innocent, might have committed mistakes while writing anuswara, visarga, maintaining lines of writing, creating confusion by mixing top and below parts of letter marks and splitting the words. All these caused by my bad handwriting. Either rapid writing or absent-mindedness was behind them. In spite of all these, the good-hearted ones, I hope, will forgive me. Summary. 1. Errors of scribes are in the form of either absence, addition or change. 2. Scribal errors are caused by even confusion while copying original of different script. 3. Command over the language and subject are essential in reading manuscripts. 4. While reading manuscripts, one has to have familiarity with many scripts. Statements of politeness or audaciousness of scribes we see occasionally at the end of the works are copied by the scribes composed by educated ones. Thank you.